Okay, guys, we are live. Dave's LFC Chats. Keith is with me as usual at Ethan Ryan on Twitter. We're going to have a little chat tonight. Obviously, a huge game tomorrow night. Burnley, Liverpool. Two cup finals, really. Palace the weekend. Leicester play Chelsea tonight at Stamford Bridge. That's another one to keep your eye on. I think about 45 minutes. But I want to chat a quick word to Keith on the weekend, the West Brom game, because I didn't get him after the game. I did a one with Jack earlier, but I just want a word on the goal and what he thought about the game. Keito, what did you think of that West Brom game?
Didn't think much of the game, to be honest with you. Although I was watching it, when I was watching it, I was saying, even when we went one down, and I was sitting with my son, and we were watching it, I'm going, if we got one, we get two. It just felt like if we got one, we get two. Yeah. And that's the way I was thinking about it. And we got the one, and I went, you know what, we're going to push on from here. And even coming into the 90th minute, I was still thinking, we're going to get something out of this. And then the minutes start ticking along, 92, 93, and I'd actually put my Sunday roast on. So the Sunday roast was on to coincide with the end of the game. So the timer went off, right? The time was going beep, 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 right? And I'm going out. And as I'm walking out, I can just see Alisson running up, right? And I turned around to my son and I went, oh, for fuck's sake, here's Alisson now, right? And then I didn't go right to the kitchen. I stopped and I looked, and then I saw what happens. And then pandemonium, just absolute pandemonium in the house. The house went absolutely ballistic. Self and Ethan running around the place, hugging, jumping, screaming out the window, opening the door, screaming out the door to anybody passing by. It went absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. So we have a swear jar in the house. So I had to put 20 quid in, right? And but it's only 50 pence a square, I swear. So like it shows you how quickly they all ramped up, right? So
I'd say that jar is full at this stage.
Full. So listen, it was absolutely amazing. It was like, just, I don't know what we keep coming up with these things. They just, it's just, I heard some people talking about the Devil's Club and all that kind of stuff, but like this, like, it just adds to the overall, I suppose, history. Like the first time keeper had ever scored for us in 125 years, the first time a keeper in the history of the Premiership had ever scored a winning goal in a game of football, and we get it. So like, this kind of shit follows us around the place, and it's absolutely marvelous. It's beautiful, but in terms of the game, like, it was just like, it almost felt like an absolute blueprint of every other game that maybe we've seen, in terms of games that didn't go our way, right? Yeah. Felt very much like, I suppose, probably felt a bit like that. What was it, the Villa game, wasn't it, where we got the late winner? Yeah. But listen, we had a load of chances, flashes to save, and they've a couple of chances they scored. So listen, we are where we are in terms of the personnel that we have available, and what we've got left, and it's just going to be an absolute battle and an absolute graft to get us across the line.
I think we got a bit of luck. We got a little bit of luck, it has to be said, in that West Brom game. I mean, they got a goal, Keith. I would have been unhappy if that would have been Liverpool who scored there. Would you? I thought
they were more hard done by our first goal than their second goal, to be honest with you. I think he's standing in front of Alisson. He's literally, and he hasn't bothered his hole getting out. Yeah. So from my perspective, he's interfering with play. And
he should have. He should have, because there's no way Alisson was saving that. He was only 6 yards out.
It was in the corner. So yeah. I don't think they were hard done by that goal. I think that's just laziness, and he's standing in front of the goal and he's making himself awkward, and he's being penalised for it. I thought on their first goal, obviously they were hard done by in terms of the rules of the game and how they are applied. Now he did that a few times, by the way. Like, he did it in a few times coming up to that. He seemed to be, I don't know what it was, whether it was fatigue or whatever else it is, but he seemed to be getting in our way all the time. And there was 3 or 4 other occasions before that happens where he's in the way and he skips over the ball or he jumps back and he doesn't blow it up. I think he actually felt at that stage like, I better give them something here because I'm fucking in the way all the time. And it felt a bit like that. And he did, and listen, we benefited from it. So fuck it, who cares?
But it's as you said, historical moments. They only ever seem to happen Liverpool. I mean, all these weird comebacks, all these weird last-minute goals, the 3-3, even the 2005 final, all these Origi, the 4-0s. I mean, you could literally write a book just on Liverpool's epic moments, couldn't you? Epic moments.
You could write a fucking book on corners, right? So you've got Trent's corner against Barcelona, and now you've got Trent's corner about now you've got Trent's corner
taken quickly.
Yeah. So
well,
there's at least 2 or 3 chapters. There's maybe a novella, maybe not a full book, maybe a short story about that. But like that's it's mental. It's absolutely mental.
And salty Big Sam at the end.
Yeah.
He's a fucking... Listen, I could understand why he was a bit salty, to be fair. But, I mean, listen, that's history. We got the 2-1. I think we're going to have to play better, Keith, at Burnley tomorrow night. I know Burnley lost 4-0 to Leeds and looked terrible.
I think that's the worst result, to be honest with you.
I was going to say to you, that makes them fucking get that back up. I would have rather them, if they're even going to get beaten 1-0, 2-1. They're not going to put in that same performance twice in a row. They're missing a few players.
So on the one hand, you're kind of going, right, what Burnley are we going to get? Are we going to get the Burnley who have pretty much cemented themselves? They've nothing really to play for. Are they on their holidays? They arrive in their flip-flops and it's an okay game. Or do we get a Burnley who have a potential to put the double over us, right? Which must be the first time in their history, or certainly close to it. They've got 10,000 fans in and they're under lights. So for a proportion of the game. So I think in the plus and the minus side, the pros and the cons side, they're going to have a go. They're absolutely going to have a go at us. They're going to come out all guns, to be honest with you. And I think it's going to be a very difficult game. It's going to be a very difficult game for us.
There's just a question in here from John Moore, and I think I know the answer. Can someone please tell me, if we get 4th and Chelsea win the Champions League and finish 5th, do we still get Champions League football? Yes.
We don't. We finish 5th. We don't get Champions League football.
No. We finished 4th, but Chelsea finished 5th. He said.
Oh, they get it
and win the Champions League. We get it finishing 4th still.
We do.
5 teams can go through from England. That will be the 5th team.
Yeah. If we finish 4th, we get it. No matter what happens. No matter what the permutation is. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what he wants to know. So we're okay in that thing. I think there was some sort of connotation where if Arsenal would have won the Europa League, or sorry, if someone else, there was some other connotation earlier in the season that you wouldn't have got it. But I think it's okay now. I think it's okay. That's a big game. That's a big game tonight, Keith. Leicester and fucking Chelsea. I mean, if Leicester beat Chelsea tonight, I know it's at Stamford Bridge, but away form doesn't matter. They beat them in the cup the weekend. Chelsea they mightn't even get top. They mightn't even get Champions League football tonight. I mean, possible.
And if he loses against City, which he could very well lose against City, he'll have lost the FA Cup final, Champions League final, and not made top 4. And that could be his cards gone in the summer. The way they do things. I think if Chelsea are to win tonight, and you'd probably fancy that their chance of winning tonight, you want them to win well. So you want them to get up a few goals, to be honest with you, 2-3-0, something along those lines. Because at least it goes down to goal difference. If we win, we could have 3 or 4 up on them going into the last game of the season. So any win will do with them playing Spurs. So it'd be a big game tonight. Obviously, if Leicester get a result, well, then it gives us a little bit of breathing space, I suppose.
Exactly. I know it does. I mean, a Leicester win would be the best result for us because it would actually qualify Leicester. Leicester would have 69 points and basically be true because Chelsea could only then get 67 max. We could get 69 and go level with Leicester if we won or 2 and they lost the last game. But Leicester definitely would be top 4. So you'd have to say the incentive is for Leicester to go for it. Even a draw will do Leicester, actually. A draw will even do Leicester. Yeah. But listen, I think we can only really care about ourselves. I mean, Burnley, you said it to me last week, this Burnley game is key. This was before the West Brom game. I was worried about the West Brom game, to be fair, and I was rightly worried. I'm worried about these 2 games, Keith. I really am, because we've done so well to get ourselves in this position. We've won the last 3 league games, which we haven't done all season. We won a tricky bleeding game at Old Trafford. It really was. I mean, Reece Williams and Phillips going to Old Trafford with their attacking threat to get a 4-2 win there was, you know what I mean? That gave us the confidence. Yeah. But to be fair, you can't say we were super confident on Sunday. We did enough to win the game, like in the 90 minutes, even before Alisson. Listen,
let's call a spade a spade. We were very lucky to win that game.
That's very lucky. Exactly. So that's why we'll need a good tomorrow night's performance is needed.
Yeah.
A 90-minute, and they're going to cause different problems. the amount Woods up front is a big centre forward. He's not pacey, so I don't think pace is going to be an issue with Burnley. It's more free kicks and corner kicks that are going to cause problems. They're big lads. They're rough and tumble. You know, Sean Deutsch will be there. Fucking, they you know, I think it's their last home game, if I'm right, and they'll actually have fans, as far as I know.
They've got fans in tomorrow.
They'll have fans.
Yeah, they've got fans in tomorrow. So. Yeah, and it's going to be on the night. You know, it's going to be 10,000 people in there, you know, and it's their last game of the season. They are absolutely going to be up for this tomorrow night. I don't care. Now, listen, you know, if we got a couple of goals up, maybe that changes a little bit and they lose a little bit of interest. But if they're in the game 60, 70 minutes with their crowd in behind, you know,
I'm going for a walk. I'm going for a walk.
Yeah, it's really back to the wall, you know.
Yeah.
You know, listen, we kind of flashed it to the save the other night as well. I suppose we'd probably enough of the ball and chances to put that game to bed as well, and we just didn't do it, you know. So, well,
what do you think of the? Okay, I mean, Genie came on and actually could have scored. I think Genie's a definite starter tomorrow night. I really do. Jones didn't do enough for me. I mean, Thiago had an unbelievable game.
Yeah.
He's going to be straight in. I mean, he's only got 2 games left, so it's going to be Fabinho, Thiago, Genie for me. It's going to be the front three because Jota's not available for this. But actually, there's a little glimmer that he might be available for the Palace game. By the way, maybe even it wasn't as I heard today. Klopp was saying that it wasn't as bad as they thought, and there's an outside chance to have him. That'd be a little bonus to have him on the bench against Palace. It really would, just in case things in the last 20 are going pear-shaped. But I mean, tomorrow night we've no choice. You can name the 11 now, Keith. I would say. I mean, it's going to be Alisson. It's got back four. It's going to be the same. It's going to be Robbo, Trent, Phillips, and Williams, and in the middle it's going to be Genie's the only change for me. I can't see Genie, Thiago, Fabinho, and the 3 amigos up front.
Yeah.
Who else to come in?
There's no bench. There's nothing.
There's no bench.
There's nothing there. Come on, to be honest, there's nothing there. Come on. So, like, I think Sunday kind of looks after itself. You know, in terms of like Hodgson kind of came. He's not going to take over the reins.
It's his last game.
It's his last game. Yeah, well, you know, it's
he
his last game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so but I think there's a lot of players in there as well who are at the end of their contracts. So there's a lot of stuff going on there now at the moment, to be honest with you. And I think with fans in for the last game of the season, if we need to get some sort of a result that'll get us across the line, I think it's all about tomorrow night. It is all about tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Any type of a win, any type of a win whatsoever. That's the cup final for us, isn't it?
It's basically a semi-final tomorrow night, Keith. It's like a semi-final of the FA Cup where you get to a final at Wembley on Sunday. It basically is. You know, it's basically a semi against Burnley. I know it's away, but away doesn't seem to really. Liverpool have a better immediate record away from home anyway.
We're the form side in the division at the moment, you know. So we're top of the form table. And we're going into it with some decent wins under our belt after difficult games. And I think that the late goals, hopefully the late goals, the one against United and the one against City, you know, you score late goals at any stage of the season, it does spur you on, you know, helped us in that, you know, when we were going for the league that year. A couple of late goals at the right times really galvanised the side, and hopefully that's what's after happening over the last 2 games. Late goals are fantastic for morale. They're fantastic for spirit, you know. If we can get in and get at them now tomorrow night and hopefully put away a couple of our chances, you know.
It's going to be nervous. It is going to be a nervous night, unless we hammer them 3 or 4-0 or whatever, and it's a handy one. But I can't see it being handy. I just cannot see it being handy tomorrow night. I see Helen Raybold has a thing in here, and I'm going to give you a good answer to this one, I think. And I think this is what will happen. What do you think of the rumours we are not buying Kabak but buying Kanate for 40 mil? I'm shocked. We would buy a more expensive player. I think the Kanate deal was almost done in January, and that he was coming in obviously in June. And I think they weren't impressed with Kabak, Keith. And he's got a bit of an injury, and they're probably saying he's young, blah blah blah. Is he worth the 80 and 90 million? I would have thought he would have been worth it, but I think they're after looking at Phillips and saying he's actually filled in a spot there that they thought needed filling. Do you know what I mean? As a backup. And they're probably saying, right, with Gomez, Van Dijk coming back, with even Matip coming back, and then you have Phillips there filling in, and Kanate is probably a 40+ million signing. I think they'll sign Kanate and let Kabak go. That's what I'm hearing anyway.
I think he's been playing with an injury for a while. And obviously they've had a chance to have a look at them. And if he's been playing with an injury for a while and he's missed a couple of games and he's been threatening to miss another couple of games along the way, like would you buy a player like that? You know,
no.
You're probably kind of going, listen, what are we buying in here? We want somebody. Listen, I know Ivan Kanate has had his injury problems as well, but they're probably looking at him. Listen, I think he's a good prospect, but are you going to spend 18 million bringing in a player who's a prospect who could very well be 3 or 4 down the line, and he's not giving you that much more than Phillips, who's homegrown? Could you use that 18 million elsewhere? You
exactly. Yeah, that's what I think, and maybe the likes of Reece Williams go out on loan. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And they'll probably sell Ben Davies. They bring him up from the basement and sell him for. They probably sell him for about 5 million.
Listen, we'll make a profit on him in anyway. So no
there you go. There you go. See that's. I think
we had this conversation a while, like in terms of like going forward. Like we need to have our 2 main centre backs need to have pace. It's as simple as that. They need to be lightning quick. So like Kanate, Gomez, Van Dijk. I'm thinking you probably need one more with pace, though, to be honest with you, to make sure we've got a sufficient cover there.
But that's why everybody was saying Kabak. Has a bit of pace, actually. But
he has a bit of pace.
There's obviously something there, Keith. I don't know.
And they give us 18 million. It depends, really. It also probably depends on the structure of the deal. Like, if it's 18 million split over 2 or 3 years, it's only a couple of mil per year. If they're looking for 18 million.
No, they wanted 18 million up front, I heard.
Well, maybe.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, maybe that's the problem.
Liverpool don't pay it up front. That is the bleeding problem.
Yeah.
Are you doing a watch along for the Chelsea game? No. But I'm going to keep my eyes on it. What time is it? Kicking off in about 25 minutes. So we'll stay on probably close to when it's just going to, because I want to watch that game. I'm sure Keith does too. But
no, I'm going to watch it. What time's the Eurovision on it?
The Eurovision? Oh, yeah. I don't know. Bleeding. No. But geez, you probably won't even get through to the fucking final for that. Brutal. Willow was in as well. Hello, Willow. Robotic Jaguar. I love that name. That's a really good name, isn't it?
Good handle. That is a good handle.
I think he's a United fan. He only drew 1-1 with Fulham. It's all over.
It's all over, isn't it?
Yeah, 1-1.
At least they got goal this season.
I'll tell you what. Fucking Villarreal, I've been watching them the last few games. They've lost the last 2 and they've drawn against Fulham.
Do you know what? They're Villarreal are quite defensive-minded in terms of how they play football. It could be an absolute bore fest. Now, listen, maybe it's not, but I wouldn't be looking forward to it. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be licking my lips now, looking forward to that much.
I'm going to give you this one, Keith. I'm going to give you this one from Eamon Kelly. You take that away there. Can you see that?
Yeah, gets our 4 be considered a fair season. Fair. I think it'd be considered one of the best seasons we've had. To be honest with you, it's better from my perspective. It's better than a domestic cup. It's better than winning the FA Cup. It's better than winning the League Cup. Just listen, in a general season, I'd say no, but with all of the adversity, right? All of the injuries, all of the setbacks, all of the bad luck, everything that's happened with, Klopp's mum and Alisson's dad and everything else. And we probably don't even know half of the shit that's gone on behind the scenes with the football club this year. If we manage to get to top 4 where we were a few weeks ago, I think it's an absolutely phenomenal achievements by the club and by all the players. Like it would have been so easy for the lads. And I know when you look back to January when it was quite clear that the lads kind of maybe kind of threw in the towel in a couple of games where they just didn't feel it was going to happen for them and they let the game peter out, which is, mental fatigue or, just bad luck or, just realizing that it's gone. I think is, was stronger, but they've bounced back. We've got a glimmer of an opportunity to get ourselves in the top 4, and we've taken it pretty much, to be honest with you. So I think it'd be an absolutely phenomenal achievement if we got ourselves into top 4 at this stage.
Klopp's already reiterated that. He's actually said that this would be one of his best seasons. For what the adversity and the crap we've gone through and everything. His man passing away, Alisson's dad passing away, injuries, VARs, everything, that COVID, no fan, everything. You can add it all together, all you want. Luck, bad luck. I'd say it'd be one of his best seasons to get top 4, there's no doubt about it. Vacant profit, flat earth moon dancing with fish. That is a spent force. That name is a spent force, to be fair. My God. Wow. I won't say any more than that.
He's on the wind-up.
Troll City. They belong under Bridges Trolls. Like and subscribe. Top of the range. Why not from Columbus, Ohio? How are you, my friend? Hopefully you're well and all is safe in Ohio, in the States.
Listen. Let's. What happens if we don't make top four? Right. Obviously, we're all going to be very disappointed. Fifth. You know, if we finish fifth, we're all going to be very disappointed. But you know what? I don't think it's going to make an awful lot of difference to what we do in the summer. I don't think it's make an awful lot of difference to what to how we try to strengthen, whether or not we can get in who we want to get in. But I don't think it's make a huge amount of difference. I'd still be very proud of what we've done since where we were in January. I think we've turned a corner with the form team, and if we can keep this going into the start of the next season with everybody coming back, I think the mentality of everybody is going to be in a good place, and you might just need to assign this season to the history books and say, listen, and it's horrible or whatever else it is. It's been a shit fucking season all around, but I think we're going in the right direction. I think we're building back to where we back to where we were. Hopefully it's not fifth, but I think there's positives there even if it is.
Well, I just want to look at this guy. Salah has to go in the summer. Mane and Firmino have to stay. I'm third of Salah's greedy bastard. He just wants more money. Look at the reports. I tell you what, I cannot see Salah wanting more. He's a humble man, actually. I know somebody that knows Salah very well, and he is a humble man. He's actually not even a money man at all. So you actually don't know what you're talking about there, buddy. But I tell you what, without Salah this season, you can take all you want to rate me. We wouldn't be in with a shout, Keith. There's no chance we'd be in a top four shout without Salah. Take Salah out of the team. Even the last 10 games. No chance.
No chance.
No one else stepping up.
Hey,
no one else.
He can drive you mad. He can drive you mad at times, I suppose, in terms of, how much better could he potentially. He's amazing for us, right? He scored an amazing amount of goals. When he's on it, he's an amazing finisher. Other aspects of his game he could improve and maybe should have improved over the last couple of years in terms of build-up play and bringing other players in and holding the ball up and not coughing it up as easy. I'd say absolutely he should, but fucking hell, he scores a lot of goals for us. So go on your way.
Jack Mack, I think he's eating his dinner watching us. He was going to pop in. I think he's eating his dinner, right, Jack? No panic, bro. What's this guy saying? You just don't know what you're going to pop up on the screen here. There's so many fucking things coming through. Salah has had a good season. Other front three have not. Well, Jota was brilliant from the start. I mean, he was on fire when we signed him. He got a bit of an injury. That sort of knocked him back. But I think Jota will be ready to rock with a bit of a rest. Well, he'd be in the Euros, actually, with Portugal, won't he? Jota. He'd be playing, To be honest, I'd rather there was no Euros and all the players were fucking having a rest and ready to rock and roll. And there's even a hint that Salah could go away with the Olympics. The under-23s for fucking Egypt. We don't want that.
I can't see him going away with the under-23s. I think we need to. I think. Listen, we all know that. We need to strengthen in that department. To be honest with you, we need to be a little bit more clinical in that department. And I think obviously from Bobby's perspective, listen, he's stepped up in the last couple of games. You can't. He does it in the big games. He does it when we need him most. But are we going to get a full 38, game season plus Europe with Bobby scoring 20, 25 goals a season? No, I don't think we are. I think those days I don't think we ever had it, to be honest with you, but certainly not at this stage of his career. Do we need somebody who's a little bit more clinical in front of goal? I think we do. I think if we strengthen other parts of the pitch, it becomes even more important that we get somebody, because we probably end up creating more chances in that perspective. So I think we definitely need to strengthen up in that position, but it's not by taking Salah out, to be honest with you.
No.
And listen, I think Mane has done enough over the last 3 years for us to have earned himself a bit of a breather and a second chance in next year. Obviously, he's been quite poor certainly since the turn of the year, and that's there for all to see. But if anybody looks like they need a break, it's him, to be honest with you. Just a reset. And to come back in next year. So I think listen, outside of players who really haven't contributed, due to injury or whatever, like the likes of Keita and maybe Ox over the past couple of years, there's a lot of players in there who have earned the right to play for their place next season. So I wouldn't be throwing anybody out, to be honest with you. And if Bobby was to become a squad player coming in and giving us a cameo for 20 minutes and we've got somebody else in there to join the front three, I don't think that's a bad thing either, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
I think an attacking midfielder would be really nice, to be fair.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I don't. We
like,
definitely
that could play up front as well. You know, that one of these players that can play anywhere.
We definitely don't score enough goals from midfield. We've scored 4 goals from midfield all season, to be honest with you. We've scored no goals, very few goals from midfield this season. So that's
Thiago got one against Southampton, remember?
Yeah. But
that was the first time in ages.
You know, but typically when you put in an attacking midfielder, you're looking at a different type of structure. Like, we're very reliant on our front three getting the vast majority of our goals with, you know, strong centre halves probably popping up. When we have Matip and Van Dijk playing, we typically get the odd centre half goal, right? And then we've got Trent maybe chipping in with 1 or 2. So, but we typically haven't scored a huge amount of goals from midfield. Now, if we start bringing in an attacking, you know, the likes of a Fernandes or even a Pogba or somebody along those, like, there's no guarantee, you know, and do they fit the model of us pressing and tracking back, getting on the ball and doing the work rate for the team? Like, that's where the engine is, you know. And I think Klopp is all right. I think he'd probably love a better return from our central midfield players. But if they don't score, you know, well, that's why we've got 3 fucking world-class strikers up front, is to score the goals for us. We are creating the chances, by the way. It's not that we're not creating chances. They're being created. They're just not being put away. So, you know, will Klopp sacrifice his style to bring in an attacking midfielder to the detriment of the engine? I don't think he will, to be honest with you. I think he's far more having somebody, you know, style, skill, laborious nature to get around the pitch. I think he's far more interested in that kind of player than he is somebody who's going to come in and play as a, you know, as a false 9 or a 10 or an attacking midfielder where their job is just to get on the ball and make stuff happen. I don't think that's Klopp's style, to be honest with you, and it probably changed the way we play.
I seen a question in there. Would you take Sancho for Salah? I wouldn't. You just saying Sancho's better than Salah? You fucking mad?
No.
Like, who's even guaranteed that Sancho's going to come to the Premier League and play like he's played in the Bundesliga? He's not even as prolific as Salah, for God's sake. No way. No way, Jose. I mean, would you take Sancho over Bobby? Bobby's a different type of player anyway. Would you take Sancho? Yes, I would. But I wouldn't sacrifice anybody over. I'd like him in the squad, you know.
Under what circumstances do you take 30 goals out of your season? You know, out of your team. Right, we're going to take him out. He gives us somewhere between. He gives us 20 in the league, right? He gives us 20 in the league. He gives us somewhere between 30 and 35 all season, and we're going to take him out, okay? And in a kind of a suppressed buying kind of scenario whereby clubs don't have any money to buy anyone. So anyone who is going for money is probably going for less money than would have gone in the first place in anyway. So why would you take 30 goals out of your season just for the fucking crack on a punt that maybe Sancho can come in and give you, but he'll sell more shirts, or, you know, he's a fresh face into the team? No, I'm not having that.
I think Anfield Lark actually means Keita. I presume you're talking about Alex Anfield Lark, but I think Keita could be in trouble. It's never taken off from Keita. It was a lot of money. I mean, he's played a handful of bleeding games. I would have loved him to. He has everything. He has everything when he's fit, and he gets a run of games.
He was one, I suppose, over the last couple of years. He was certainly one of the signings now that I was so looking forward to seeing. You know, play for us, and it just hasn't happened for him. You know, injuries and. Like, I know some players, it just seems to be any type of niggle at all. Like, to be honest with you, you know, he's gone for 3, 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and he comes back in. He's just, he flatters to deceives, and then he's gone again for another 4 or 5 weeks. There's nothing there to make any type of an argument that he should still be there. But, like, what are you going to do? Like, I think the club have to try and get him in and get him playing and get him into some sort of a situation where he looks appealing to somebody else, to be honest with you. Like, what is he going to go for now? 20 million? Maybe 25? You're going to lose 25 on him, aren't you? So
yeah. Well, I mean, even you're going to lose a lot of money on players now, because I don't think anybody has the money to. In the last year or two, obviously with COVID and everything, lack of money coming in, I just don't think there isn't the money there was 2 years ago or 18 months ago. There just isn't. There still is money, but there just isn't as much. And I think teams are going to be go for, you know, what they want.
Like,
they won't be willy-nilly.
The other thing as well is that we've got one of the smallest squads, certainly in terms of the top 6 and the top 3. We've got we're not in a position, and this season has absolutely shown it, that we're not in a position to sell to buy. we need to build. You need to build in positions. We need to have, you know, decent quality players who can come in and, you know, over a season in all positions all over the pitch. Squad's not big enough to sustain what we need to do in terms of how we play football and the breadth of the competitions that we're going to be competing in. So, you know, okay, if you're selling one player, you know, you're bringing in another player at the same time.
Hopefully, a better quality.
Better quality, you know. Yeah, but we also need to you know, bolster up a lot of positions. We need to bolster in midfield. We certainly need to bolster at the back. And I think we need somebody else up front, to be honest with you. You know, we need to build our squad.
We need a striker, Keith. We need a striker.
Oh, we need a striker. Yeah, we absolutely need a striker.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we absolutely need a striker. And I think we're going to have a punt in the centre half as well. Like, when you think about it, if we have, like, if Van Dijk comes back and he's okay, great. Gomez comes back and he's okay, right? That's your two, right? And then you've got Matip then as well, who can come in, right? And if he's not playing a huge amount of games, he can come in and do a job there and then, right? And then you've got Phillips coming in there and Canate, right? So, you know, or on the odd occasion, Phillips popping in or Henderson popping in, right? Like, I don't think we're going to have the same season the way we are. So that's all fine. But, you know, there's not to say we're not going to have the same issue in some other parts of the pitch next year. Like, there's not to say we're not going to get an injury to a Salah or to a Mane, you know, or somebody else in midfield. So we need strengthening all around the pitch. But we've also played our two fullbacks, right? And anybody else is not getting a look in that team at fullback position, you know. So
I mean, look at Tsimikas. They bought him. He hasn't even kicked the bleeding ball.
Yeah,
the Greek guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Greek guy. Yeah. So, like, you look at Liverpool. Like, I don't mind getting players in for the sake. I don't like getting players in for the sake of it, just filling out squads. I like quality. Well, as you said, quality costs money, and it's hard to get when everybody else is looking for quality. You know what I mean? At the top end. And Liverpool have been good over the last 4 or 5 seasons since Klopp's been there. Michael Edwards, in particular, whoever else is involved in the transfer committee, have been absolutely, top notch. They've more hits than misses in the transfer committee. And I mean, people are slagging with Ben Davies, but Ben Davies probably will end up being a hit because they probably get twice what they bleeding bought him for. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was probably strategic. I don't know. You
know, like, sometimes it's okay to be shrewd, and it's okay to pull off a couple of master classes, right? And sell the right player at the right time, buy in some players at the right time, and watch their value. But at other points, and I think this season has to have focused their attention that, you know, you also need to have strength in depth throughout the season. Now, we're not City, obviously, and we're not Chelsea, right? No. But there must be enough money there. There must be a significant enough of a war chest for us to establish, you know, a second tier side that can come in, and a side that Klopp, like, some of the signings that Klopp has signed, he obviously doesn't trust them because they're not getting anywhere near the squad. They're getting nowhere near the squad. So who bought them and who sanctioned them? They're obviously just being a couple of boys to, you know, it's not going to cost us a few quid and we might make a few quid at the tail end, which is absolutely fine. Clubs are doing it all over the place. But at some point in time, we have to start buying players who can come in, who can manage the squad. And if you trust them, like Guardiola trusts his players, he can make 3 or 4 changes per game and bring in players who just slot in and give you the same amount of effort and the same amount of return. But that's where we need to be going, lads, to be honest with you. That's where we need to be going. And if we don't go there, we're going to get left behind. It's as simple as that. You know, we've a golden age of lads there, but they're not going to last forever. And the way we play football, it's probably, they're not going to last as long as maybe they would somewhere else. So we have to think about that. You know, we have to think about that. This season is this close season for me is really about strengthening our squad, to be honest with you, and getting a second tier level of players who can come in. And if you do that, by the way, you then create a pathway for some of the younger lads to come through. You know, the likes of an Elliott coming back or somebody else coming in, a younger player. Like, because we're so struggling at the moment, all of these lads are going out on loan. There's no defined pathway to bring these players through to the first team. You know, you do that a lot easier with a big squad, you know? Yeah.
Jack, I see you're still in here. I don't know whether you were eating your dinner or you wanted to come in. If you want to come in, I've sent you the link anyway, so you can pop in if you want. I see Rory Fitz is in. Can Salah be a new striker, probably in the bench, and a new wide player like Pedro Neto from Wolves? I like Pedro Neto, actually. He reminds me of Jota, actually. I know Jota, both Portuguese, both playing for Wolves, but he's an intelligent type of player. It's all big money, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know what Liverpool are going to do. I think we need 3 quality starting player signings, as in they could start the game and you wouldn't bat an eyelid. Not the likes of a Ben Davies or a Kabak, or even, you know, these type players that they're never really going to start, Eddie. You know, that's what I want. But everybody's going to be in it. I mean, Talking about Harry Kane, Mbappe, Haaland. I can't see any of them, Keith, Liverpool. I just can't see it.
No, I can't, to be honest with you. I can't. I don't think we're definitely not going to spend the money on it. We're definitely not going to spend the money on Harry Kane. He's 100, whatever he is, 120 million. I don't think there's going to be too many people who can spend that amount of money, and who's going to spend it?
He'll get goals. He will get goals.
He goes to Chelsea, unless he goes to Chelsea potentially, But he's 28 years of age now in the summer, so listen, he's still not over the top, but he's he's moving towards that. He's moving towards that area where we, as a club, will be looking to try and flip him onto somewhere else. And why are we going to take him on just for a season? You'd be better off taking a punt on somebody a little bit older and bringing them back.
As Jack was saying, I think he'd be a perfect replacement for Aguero. Though they need a striker now with Aguero going. If they got Kane now, that would just one sign and bang, Kane. It would make a big difference, Keith. Just one signing, bang.
Yeah. If Haaland is staying the way he is, and that's the news coming out of the club, which could be posturing, obviously, but if he's staying the way he is, well, then it does narrow who's available. Like you look at United, and they probably need to strengthen other areas. They're scoring goals at the moment. They've no problem really scoring goals. That's not their problem at the moment. The problem's at the other end of the pitch. They're too reliant on that that Fred and McTominay partnership now to try and bolster up the back four, who are clearly not working. So I don't know whether they're going to be in the market for a striker. In terms, it just depends on how much they have. Chelsea, you can see them being in the market for a striker, and then who's available. So listen, it's going to be very interesting to see. We're probably more. I think whatever business we're going to do, I think it's well in motion, and it's well on the way. And we could be fucking talking wham for the next half an hour in terms of who we should buy and who we shouldn't buy. And I think those conversations are already well in advanced.
I think Moat's, I think he's an Egyptian actually. Moat's Mahmoud is actually something against Salah here, because I mean, come on, if you're an Egyptian, you should know Salah is like top level. You know what I mean? Salah over Kane, no chance.
He's on the wind up. He's
You're on a wind up here. It's probably Salah's cousin or something. He's on a wind up here. You're having a joke. No chance. I take Haaland over Kane. I take Haaland, no doubt about it, but I just can't see him. As Keith said, I think Dortmund want to hold him for another year or something. I don't know.
That's it. Yeah, listen, they're probably posturing. They're probably posturing that if somebody does really want to take him this year, they're going to have to stump up a huge amount of money to take him away. And there's only a couple of clubs now who can do that. So, as I said, I think to be honest with you, I think whoever, and listen, our first choice and second choice could very well depend on what happens over the next 24 hours in terms of who we get in. And not in terms of us having the money to do it, but in terms of whether or not that player wants to come, right? That player might want to say, listen, I want to play Champions League, particularly with the pandemic and particularly with missing a season in front of fans. And it's been a Mickey Mouse thing over the last 2 years, really, hasn't it? Champions League hasn't had the same effect without the fans. So
it did when we won it. That's the last time it had effect when we won it.
But there was fans at that, so we were all right. Yeah,
you were at it, you bollocks. What are you on about? You were at it. But listen, we're going to wrap it up now in a minute or two. But we just get back to obviously the game tomorrow. I'm just watching Chelsea and Leicester just about to kick off. United drew 1-1 earlier, if you want to know, against Fulham. Chelsea are playing Leicester tonight, guys. I'm going to go for a draw here tonight, which will suit Liverpool down to the ground. And if Chelsea win, you want Chelsea to win well, because it comes down to goal difference. That's the added thing there. You want Chelsea to win by 2 or 3 goals. The more goals they get, plus if we beat Burnley, which is what we have to do, you get your plus again on top of what they get. You get double pluses, and that's the way to do it. But other than that, I think it might be a draw tonight. And
it's been a mental season. You never know what's going to happen. It's been a mental season. So listen, they could get something. They might just have the Indian sign on them. Like Chelsea could have the Indian sign on Man City. You don't know, but it feels like it's going to be a Chelsea handy win. Leicester probably need any type of result over the next 2 games, and they're probably home and hose. So I'd expect Chelsea to come out all guns blazing. But so if they do win, I hope they win well.
Yeah, if Leicester win though, Chelsea are gone. Chelsea will be in trouble, because if we win here too, and Leicester win tonight, Chelsea are gone.
Oh yeah.
So Chelsea are home here. There's 5,000. I can see it, 5,000 in the crowd. So, anyway, we don't care about really what happens. But if Chelsea got to win, you want them to win well. But I like Leicester. So, to be honest, I'd like us and Leicester to get top 4. They got the cup the weekend, so I was happy with that. But I think we'll leave it there, Keith. We'll just get a prediction for tomorrow night. I'm going to go 2-0. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. We just need to win the game. No injuries. Win the game. And then the cup final, as they say, against Palace on Sunday. I presume you're similar, yeah?
I'll probably go. I don't think there's any games where we're not going to maybe potentially concede. We could be lucky and not concede, but I think we're going to concede. So I think we'll win. I think we'll win. We'll just find a way to get through the game. So I'm probably going to go for my heart is saying 3-1. My head's saying 2-1. So I'm going to sit in the fence with one or the other, please.
Yeah, no, listen, just get the win. That's all that matters. We win our 2 games. I think we've got it. That's all we've got to concentrate on. Not even care about what else happens. Keith, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. Good to see everybody. All right, thanks for all the comments. We'll chat to you soon. Thanks
for all the comments, guys. Stay safe. Talk to you soon. This means more.